A deal sealed in champagne, the crystal chandeliers of the Blackwood Hotel ballroom. Scattered rainbow lights across marble floors like shattered dreams. Amelia Hartwell stood at the center of it all, her face aching from holding a smile that felt more like a mask than an expression. Tonight was supposed to be the happiest night of her life, her engagement party. Instead, it felt like attending her own funeral. She gripped the champagne flute so tightly her knuckles turned white. The massive diamond ring on her finger caught the light, heavy as an anchor. Around her, Manhattan's elite glided past in designer gowns and perfectly tailored suits. They congratulated her father on such an excellent match. They praised Julian Blackwood for securing such a beautiful bride. Nobody congratulated Amelia. Nobody asked if this was what she wanted. At 24, Amelia had spent her entire life being the perfect daughter. Perfect grades at Columbia University. Perfect manners at society events. Perfect obedience when her father announced he had promised her hand to Julian Blackwood to merge their family businesses. The Hartwell real estate dynasty and the Blackwood Hotel empire? Amelia was simply the currency that sealed the deal. She took a long sip of champagne, letting the bubbles burn her throat. Across the ballroom, she spotted Julian surrounded by business partners. His arm wrapped possessively around the waist of a blonde woman in a red dress. His fiancé. The man who had looked at her during their first meeting like she was a piece of furniture and said simply, "Adequate." Her best friend Nina Torres appeared beside her, pressing a fresh glass into her hand. "You look like you are at a funeral instead of an engagement party." Amelia laughed bitterly. "What is the difference? Both involve mourning what could have been." Nina squeezed her hand. "It is not too late to run. My car is right outside. We could be in Mexico by morning. If only it were that simple." Her father had made it clear. If she refused this marriage, she would lose everything. The trust fund, her position at Hartwell Properties, her family. She would be alone with a prestigious education and zero experience in the real world. The ballroom doors burst open, and Amelia's breath caught in her throat. The storm arrives, a man strode in late and unapologetic. His presence cut through the room like thunder on a sunny day. He was taller than Julian, broader in the shoulders, with dark hair that looked like he had run his fingers through it repeatedly. His eyes swept across the ballroom with open contempt. He wore an expensive black suit but carried it carelessly. His tie was loosened, his top button undone. If Julian was a polished showroom display, this man was raw energy and danger. Their eyes met across the crowded room, and suddenly everyone else disappeared. Electricity crackled in the air between them. A sense of recognition, of danger, of something far more terrifying than anything Amelia had felt before. "Who is that?" she whispered. Nina followed her gaze and froze. "Oh my God, that is Dante Blackwood." Julian's older brother, the family's black sheep. The name was familiar from whispered stories. Dante had refused the family business, built his own technology empire from nothing, and was now wealthier than his father and brother combined. Ruthless in business, indifferent to high society rules. He only appeared at family events as a last resort, and only to make clear his contempt for the entire charade. Now he was walking straight toward her. The man who saw through her. Amelia's heart pounded so loudly she could barely hear the ballroom chatter. Dante stopped in front of her, ignoring the stares of the guests. "So you are the sacrifice," he said. His voice was low and rough, nothing like Julian's smooth tone. "Excuse me," Amelia's voice trembled slightly. "The arranged bride?" "My brother's newest acquisition?" His gray eyes bored into hers. She saw something unexpected there. Understanding, sympathy, and anger at what was being done to her. "You do not want this," he stated. It was not a question. "What I want has never mattered to anyone," she replied firmly. Dante's jaw tightened. "Then why are you agreeing to it?" "Because the alternative is worse. Because not everyone has the luxury of burning bridges, building an empire from scratch." Something shifted in his expression. Respect, perhaps. Before she could say another word, Julian appeared. "Brother, I did not think you would come. Could not miss your engagement." Dante replied with cold politeness. "Though I must admit, she is far too good for you." Julian smiled, but his eyes remained icy. Jealous? Always, Dante said calmly, but he was looking at Amelia, not his brother, and she felt it clearly. One wolf had already claimed her, while another had just begun the hunt. Midnight confessions, the rest of the evening passed in a blur. Amelia smiled, thanked guests, and felt Dante's gaze following her. He watched without hiding it, his attention a weight she could not ignore. When the party finally ended and guests began leaving, Amelia escaped to the hotel's library, desperate for a moment alone. She kicked off her heels, poured herself whiskey, and collapsed into a leather chair. In 3 months, she would become Julian Blackwood's wife, and her entire life would transform into a gilded cage. The door opened. Dante walked in and closed it behind him. Hiding, he asked. Surviving, she answered, taking a sip. He sat across from her. You could refuse. Walk away. Lose everything you have ever known. He looked at her over his glass. Is that really so terrifying? Easy to say for someone who has already been through it. But you wanted to leave, he pressed. I am not like you, Amelia admitted. I am not strong enough. He leaned forward. Maybe you just never had a reason to be strong. She met his intense gaze. If you could run away, what would you do? Right. Travel. Wake up in the morning without this weight crushing my chest. He studied her as she had revealed something precious. You are not meant for him. I know, she whispered, but I have no choice. He stood up. If you ever decide otherwise, call me. I will help you disappear. He placed a business card on the table and left. Amelia stared at it like a lifeline. Or like temptation, she could not afford the desperate plan that night. Lying in her childhood bedroom, Amelia made a decision. She could not run away. She lacked Dante's resources. But she had one thing left. Her reputation. And if Julian wanted a perfect, pure bride, what would happen if she stopped being that? The thought was dark and reckless, but it was all she had left. She grabbed her phone and texted, I need help with something crazy. The response came immediately. I will be there in 20 minutes. An hour later, Amelia stood in a hotel bar, her heart racing. She had to do this. She had to reclaim even a tiny bit of control. Find someone safe, clean, someone who would not create complications. She scanned the bar, feeling her courage melting away. This is insane. What am I doing? Then she saw him at the end of the counter. He sat slowly sipping whiskey, staring at his phone as if it had offended him. Dark hair, gray eyes, that same magnetic, almost hypnotic presence that had captivated her at the engagement party. Dante, Blackwood, the point of no return. Her body made the decision before her mind could interfere. She crossed the bar and slid onto the stool beside him. Rough evening, she said, trying to sound casual. Dante looked up. Surprise flickered in his eyes, replaced by something darker and dangerously intense. Amelia Hartwell. What are you doing here? Drinking, she answered calmly, grateful her voice did not shake. Is that a crime now? His gray eyes narrowed. Does my brother know you are here? Unlikely. Does he need to approve my every move now? A ghost of a smile crossed Dante's lips. Feisty. What do you want, Amelia? She met his gaze. Drawing on every ounce of courage she had, accumulated over the years. The word hung between them. Electric. Impossible. Dante froze. I am sorry, what? You offered to help me escape. I am not ready to disappear completely. But I need your help with something else. Amelia's heart pounded as she laid out her plan. Dante's face showed surprise, understanding, and something like controlled hunger. You want to sleep with someone to destroy the engagement, he said, his voice rough. And you chose me. Why? Because you are the only one who cares what I want, she said honestly. Because you know what it is like to be trapped by family. And because if I'm going to do this, I want it to be with someone who makes me feel something. Even if it is just anger. Dante downed his whiskey in one gulp and signaled for another. Terrible idea. I know, Amelia said quietly. But I have no good options left. What if Julian finds out? Dante warned. His laugh was harsh. You are naive if you think this will be simple. He does not give up what he considers his, even if it is broken. I am not his property, she shot back fiercely. Exactly, Dante said softly, searching her face. Are you sure? You are not drunk? You will not blame me tomorrow. Amelia leaned closer, breathing in his scent of sandalwood and something darker. I might regret this, but I will regret it more if I marry your brother. This is my choice. Something changed in his eyes. His resistance crumbled. He stood abruptly and extended his hand. I have a suite upstairs. If we do this, we do it right. Amelia placed her palm in his, ignoring the trembling inside her in the elevator. They were silent except for his thumb tracing circles on her palm, sending shivers through her body. The suite was enormous. With panoramic windows overlooking nighttime Manhattan, Dante poured them whiskey. For courage, he asked. Is it that obvious I am scared? Amelia smiled weakly. You are shaking, he answered quietly. We do not have to do this. Amelia emptied her glass in one swallow. No, we have to. Before I change my mind? Before I back out of the only brave thing I have ever done, Dante set down his glass and slowly approached. Listen, if we do this, it is not for revenge or rebellion. If I touch you, it is because I want you. Only you. That is what I want to, Amelia whispered, even if it is crazy, even if it is wrong. His palm touched her face. His thumb traced her cheekbone. There is nothing wrong with you. And he kissed her, crossing the line at first gently, as if giving her a chance to pull away. But Amelia melted into him, gripping his shirt, releasing all her pent-up restraint. Dante groaned against her lips, deepening the kiss, guiding her toward the bedroom. Clothes fell to the floor between desperate kisses and whispers. Wait, Amelia breathed. I need to tell you something. I am a virgin. Dante froze. Amelia. His voice became strained. That changes everything. Does it change what you want? No, but it means I need to be careful. I do not want careful. Her eyes flashed. I want to feel something real. Just for one night, he kissed her again, this time slowly, tenderly. His hands explored her body, discovering what made her gasp, what made her reach for him. When he leaned over her, his gray eyes met hers. Are you sure? More than I have ever been, she whispered. What happened next would remain between them. A secret each viewer would imagine for themselves. The night transformed everything. Amelia had never experienced anything like this. It was not just touch. It was an explosion of feelings, a mixture of freedom, fear, and attraction. Dante was patient and attentive, as if guiding her along a thin line between pain and a new world where there were no cages or golden chains. When it was over, they lay tangled in expensive sheets, breathing heavily like escapees from captivity. Amelia pressed her face to his chest, listening to his heartbeat. This was supposed to be simple, she whispered. A transaction to break off the engagement. Why does it feel like something more? Because it is something more, Dante answered quietly, stroking her hair. At least for me. Amelia looked up and saw the truth in his eyes. For him, this was not revenge or rebellion either. What have we done? She asked. Started a war, he said with dark irony. My brother will not forgive us for this. Do you regret it? I only regret that you are still engaged to Julian. Her phone on the nightstand vibrated. 7 missed calls from her father. 12 messages from Julian. Reality crashed in like a cold wind. I should go, Amelia whispered, though leaving was the last thing she wanted. Stay, Dante said, gently but firmly gripping her wrist. Just for one night, she knew she should refuse. She had already achieved her goal. The secret would destroy the engagement. Staying would complicate everything. But looking into his eyes, full of warmth and protection, she could not leave. Okay, she whispered. Just tonight. For the first time in months, her dreams were not nightmares about wedding dresses and golden cages. But morning brought sunshine and consequences neither of them could escape. The morning after sunlight streamed through the floor-to-ceiling windows, painting golden stripes across the rumpled sheets. Amelia woke slowly, her body pleasantly sore in unfamiliar ways. For a blissful moment, she forgot where she was. Then, reality crashed down like a tidal wave. She had done it. Crossed the line. Complicated everything. Panic seized her heart when she realized the bed beside her was empty. Then she heard the sound of running water from the bathroom. Relief flooded through her, followed immediately by a new wave of anxiety. What happened now? How did you face someone after a night that changed everything? Dante emerged from the bathroom, water droplets glistening on his skin and damp hair. He wore only a towel around his waist, and Amelia's breath caught despite everything weighing on her mind. "Good morning," he said, his tone carefully neutral. "Better than the last few months combined." She admitted. He crossed to the nightstand and picked up her phone. "Almost 9 o'clock? You have 17 missed calls." With trembling hands, she opened the message from Julian. "Office, your father's building, noon. Do not be late. Looks like I am being summoned." Amelia tried to joke, but her voice cracked. "I am coming with you." "No, that will make it worse. Like hell it will." Dante was already dialing. "You are not walking in there alone. They will destroy you." She wanted to argue, but deep down she knew he was right. She had started a war. Going in alone meant accepting defeat. "Fine," she said quietly, "but I do the talking. Would not dream of interfering." His smile was sharp as a knife, the tribunal wearing Dante's shirt from the previous night, her wrinkled dress from the party clutched in her hands. Amelia looked exactly like a woman who had crossed a point of no return. The walk through the hotel lobby felt like a walk of shame, except she refused to feel ashamed. For the first time in her life, she had made a choice. Her choice? Julian's office resembled a throne room. Behind him, Central Park spread out through massive windows. Inside, her father radiated barely contained fury. Her mother sat pale and silent. And on the enormous screen behind Julian's desk, security camera footage played on a loop, her and Dante at the bar. Their eyes meeting, their hands touching. "Their departure to the suite upstairs, invasion of privacy," Dante said calmly. "Hotel property," Julian smiled coldly. "Family owned. I have access to everything. Especially when my fiancée enters my brother's hotel room," her father spoke in an icy tone. "Do you understand what you have done? Mergers, contracts, everything destroyed because of one night." "I am not going to lie," Amelia lifted her head. "It happened, and I do not regret it." The room exploded. Her father shouted. Her mother wept. Julian smiled as if he had already won. Only Dante remained stone solid beside her, the devils. Contract Julian approached his desk with the calculated precision of an executioner. "Here's what will happen. Medical verification, public apology, and we proceed with the wedding. Or your family pays $15 million for breach of contract." $15 million, her father choked. Julian continued evenly. "Or you marry me with a revised prenuptial agreement. No assets, no equity, complete financial dependence. This is your only chance to salvage anything. You sold my life," Amelia turned to her father. "Sold me for a business deal." He looked away. "I did what was necessary for the family. You destroyed my life," she said quietly. "Sold me to a man who is now threatening us with financial ruin." Her mother spoke with a trembling voice. "Amelia, think of your siblings. If we lose everything, they lose their futures too." Guilt crushed Amelia's chest. She had wanted freedom without considering the cost to others. Dante's hand found hers. "Do not let them make you feel guilty. I will pay the penalty. 15 million means nothing to me." Every head in the room turned toward him. Julian laughed. "How touching. The prodigal son rushing to the rescue. But you forgot something, brother. The penalty is just the beginning. Then come the lawsuits. Breach of contract, interference with contractual relations, alienation of affection. By the time I am finished with you, the Hartwell family will not just be ruined, they will be annihilated, and you will be stuck in courts for years." Dante's jaw clenched, but he did not back down. "Try it. I have better lawyers." "So do I," Julian smirked. and all the time in the world to make your lives hell. Amelia felt the walls closing in. She had desperately wanted to escape one cage, only to trap herself in another far worse. Now her choice affected not just herself, but everyone she loved. "I need time," Amelia said, her voice hollow. "You have until Monday," Julian replied. 3 days. Either you apologize, agree to new terms, and we continue wedding preparations, or your family loses everything, and you spend the next decade watching them suffer. Choose wisely. Unexpected allies' tense silence filled the room. Amelia's parents left without speaking to her. Julian returned to his desk, already dismissing them from his consciousness. Only Dante remained beside her, leading her to the elevator without releasing her hand for a second. In the car, Amelia could not hold back. She covered her face with her hands, and tears streamed down her cheeks. "What have I done? What was I thinking?" "You were thinking you deserved freedom," Dante answered fiercely, pulling her close. "You thought you deserved better than being sold like merchandise. And you were right. But my family," she sobbed. "My sister, my brother. They do not deserve to suffer for my choices. They will not," Dante promised. "I meant it. I will pay the penalty. I will drag Julian through courts until he regrets threatening you." Amelia looked up at him through her tears. "Why are you doing this? You barely know me. Maybe I am tired of watching my brother treat people like possessions," Dante said quietly. "Or maybe I see something in you worth fighting for." Amelia's heart clenched. This was not supposed to happen. She only wanted to break the engagement and walk away. Not drag Dante into war with his family. Not fall for the man who helped her escape. "Maybe I should just marry him," she whispered. "End this before it gets worse." "Over my dead body," Dante growled. "You are not going back to Julian. I do not care what it costs." The hidden claws they drove in silence to Dante's penthouse apartment. A modern space with minimalist design and breathtaking city views. Amelia felt numb, exhausted from crying, and the emotional whiplash of the past 24 hours. Dante made coffee while she curled up on his leather couch, staring blankly at the skyline. Her phone kept buzzing with messages from family members, friends, and gossip-hungry acquaintances who had already heard whispers of the scandal. Nina's message cut through the noise. "I saw the news. Are you okay? I am coming over." Before Amelia could respond, her phone rang. Her father's name flashed on the screen. "Amelia, we need to talk. It is about the penalty payment." Her stomach twisted. "What do you mean?" "The lawyers found a loophole. A clause we missed. If the engagement breaks due to infidelity before the wedding, the penalty is not $15 million. Amelia felt blood drain from her face. "How much?" $30 million? The room spun. $30 million. She could not even finish the sentence. Dante took the phone from her shaking hands. "Richard, this is Dante Blackwood. Explain." Amelia could not hear her father's response, but she watched Dante's face turn to stone. "I see. And Julian knew about this clause the entire time." "Of course he did. His lawyers drafted the contract." When Dante hung up, his jaw was clenched so tightly she could see the muscle jumping. "Julian is playing dirty. He always knew about the increased penalty," Amelia asked, her voice barely a whisper. "He was counting on it," Dante said grimly, "betting that when you learned the real cost, you would crawl back and agree to marry him to save your family from total destruction." Amelia's hands trembled. $30 million is more than my family's entire fortune. More than even you could easily pay. This is not just an engagement anymore. This is the destruction of everyone I love. I have to go back to him, she whispered. "It is the only way." "Absolutely not," Dante said sharply. "We will find another way." "What way?" "You do not have $30 million in cash." "Nobody does." "Julian wins. He always wins." Dante pulled her into his arms. "Listen to me. I do not have $30 million liquid, but I have assets. Real estate, stocks, investments. I can liquidate everything. It will take time, but I can do it." "No," she cut him off. "I will not let you bankrupt yourself for me. This is not your war. It became mine the moment you trusted me with your secrets, Dante said intensely. The moment you chose me over safety. I am not letting Julian win. A mother's betrayal. A knock at the door interrupted them. Dante frowned, checked the security camera, and his expression shifted to shock. My father. And Julian. Amelia's eyes widened. Your father is here? He opened the door. Two men stood there like older versions of the Blackwood brothers. Julian, cold and polished. Robert Blackwood, their father, tall and commanding with silver-streaked hair. May we come in? Robert asked in a tone that made clear it was not really a question. Dante stepped aside, his body tense. Amelia stood, trying not to feel like a condemned prisoner. Robert's cold gaze swept over her, assessing. Miss Hartwell. The woman causing so much trouble? I prefer to think I am the woman who refused to be treated as property. Amelia lifted her chin. The corner of Robert's mouth twitched. Almost a smile. Fair enough, he turned to Dante. Julian tells me you offered to pay her family's entire penalty. 30 million. That is madness, even for you. It is my money, Dante said evenly. I will spend it how I choose. You always were stubborn, Robert sighed. Julian spoke for the first time. I am willing to make a deal. Amelia's gaze snapped to her former fiancé. What deal? Amelia marries me as planned. In exchange, I completely waive the penalty. Her family keeps everything. You avoid financial catastrophe. Everyone wins. Everyone except Amelia, Dante snarled. She does not want you. I am willing to compromise, Julian continued with oily smoothness. A marriage on paper only. Separate bedrooms. She can even continue her relationship with you, brother, if she is discreet. After 5 years, we divorce amicably. She gets a generous settlement. Her family stays safe. The papers will say, we grew apart. Everyone is happy. Amelia stared at him in horror. You want me to marry you while continuing to sleep with your brother? I want the deal to go through, Julian corrected. Your happiness is irrelevant, but I am not a monster. At least this way, everyone gets something. This is the most disgusting thing I have ever heard. Amelia said. Robert Blackwood finally spoke. Actually, it is not such a bad compromise. You avoid financial catastrophe. Julian gets his merger. Dante keeps you, albeit partially. And in 5 years, you are free with money for a new life. Amelia looked at Dante, seeing her own horror reflected in his eyes. This was worse than the original arrangement. At least that had been honest. Now they wanted her to live a lie, trapped between two brothers for 5 years. You are all insane, she said. I will not marry Julian. Not now, not ever, not even to save my family. Your family will lose everything, Julian said softly. Your sister will drop out of college. Your brother will leave medical school. Your parents will lose the company they've built over 30 years. All because you are too selfish to compromise. This is not compromise, Amelia snapped. This is blackmail, Julian shrugged. Call it what you want. The offer stands until midnight. Then my lawyers begin collection proceedings. 30 million. Immediately he stood, buttoning his jacket. Choose, Amelia. Freedom or your family's salvation. The choice should be simple. When they left, Amelia collapsed onto the couch. Her mind raced feverishly. This was a nightmare. An elaborate trap with no escape. Breaking point, Dante paced the room, barely containing his rage. There has to be another way. We can challenge the contract, claim coercion or fraud. He has too many powerful lawyers, Amelia said dully. They will tie us up in courts for years while my family drowns in debt. Julian planned this perfectly. Dante stopped, dropped to his knees in front of her. Then we run. Tonight, I will sell what I can. We disappear. Start over somewhere new and leave my family to face Julian's wrath alone. Amelia shook her head. I cannot do that. So you are seriously considering his vile proposal. Marrying him while staying with me? He could not finish the sentence. I do not know what I am considering, Amelia admitted. I just know I am trapped again. That night passed without sleep. Amelia lay in Dante's bed, his arm wrapped around her waist, as if protecting her even in sleep. But in her head, only nightmares swirled. Every possible outcome led to disaster. Marry Julian and lose herself. Refuse and destroy her family. Run and live with that burden forever. At 11:30, her phone vibrated. A message from an unknown number. If you are looking for a way out, come to this address. Alone. This concerns Julian's contract. Her heart raced. This could be a trap. Or it could be hope. A chance she had not dared dream of. Amelia quietly slipped out of bed, dressed, and left a note. Need to check something. We'll be back soon. Trust me, the address led to a 24-hour diner in Queens, far from glittering Manhattan. Amelia settled in the back corner, tension squeezing her throat. At 11:55, a woman appeared. Elegant, cold, with eyes like Julian's. Amelia froze. Mrs. Blackwood, Dante's mother. The woman sat across from her. You are more perceptive than Julian thinks. Amelia's head spun. Why are you here? Because I am tired of watching my sons destroy each other, Mrs. Blackwood said quietly. Because Julian's obsession with defeating Dante has gone too far, and because you do not deserve to be a weapon in their war. She slid a folder across the table. What is this? Amelia opened it and her eyes widened. Proof, Mrs. Blackwood said calmly, that Julian's lawyers deliberately concealed the $30 million penalty. Direct fraud. Documents, correspondence with attorneys, discussions of the hidden contract clause. Everything is here. Why are you giving this to me? Because someone has to end this. And I chose you. Use it. Nullify the contract. Free yourself. Maybe then my sons will stop destroying everything around them. Julian will know you helped me. Mrs. Blackwood smiled sadly. Possibly, but I have been silent too long. Use this wisely. She stood and walked out, leaving Amelia holding the key to her freedom and staring at papers that could change everything. The evidence Amelia sat in the empty diner long after Mrs. Blackwood disappeared into the night. Her hands trembled as she flipped through the documents again and again, hardly believing what she was reading. Email chains between Julian's legal team discussing how to hide the penalty escalation clause. Internal memos strategizing about using the hidden terms as leverage. Even a voice recording of Julian himself laughing about the trap he was setting. It was everything she needed. Everything that could destroy the contract and set her free. But it would also destroy Julian. Expose his fraud. Potentially ruin his reputation and business dealings. And it came from his own mother. A woman willing to sacrifice her relationship with her son to stop the madness. Amelia's phone buzzed. A text from Dante. Where are you? Are you safe? Her fingers hovered over the keyboard. She wanted to tell him everything immediately, but something held her back. This evidence was powerful, dangerous. She needed to think clearly about how to use it without creating even more collateral damage. On my way back, she typed, everything is okay. I promise. The drive back to Dante's penthouse felt surreal. Dawn was breaking over the city, painting the sky in shades of pink and gold. Amelia watched the sunrise and felt something shift inside her. For months, she had felt powerless, trapped by circumstances beyond her control. Now, she held power in her hands. The question was how to wield it. Dante was waiting by the door when she arrived, his face tight with worry. He pulled her into his arms the moment she entered. Do not ever disappear like that again, he said roughly. I thought Julian had gotten to you. I am sorry. Amelia pulled back to look at him. But I think I found our way out. She spread the documents across his dining table and watched his expression transform from confusion to shock to something approaching. Ah, how did you get these? He asked quietly. Your mother, Amelia said. She met me at a diner in Queens. Said she was tired of watching you and Julian destroy each other. Dante sank into a chair, running his hands through his hair. My mother did this. I cannot believe it. She risked everything to help me, Amelia said softly. To help us the plan, they spent the morning poring over every document, making copies, building their case. Dante called his personal attorney, a sharp woman named Patricia Reeves, who specialized in contract fraud. She arrived within an hour, reviewed everything, and smiled for the first time since Amelia had met her. "This is airtight," Patricia said. "Deliberate concealment, fraudulent misrepresentation, unconscionable terms. Any judge will void this contract and possibly impose penalties on Julian for attempted fraud." "How long will it take?" Amelia asked. "With this evidence? We could file for emergency relief today. Have a hearing by Wednesday. The contract could be nullified by the end of the week." Amelia felt tears welling up. After all the trapped, suffocating months, freedom was suddenly within reach. "But there is one thing you need to consider," Patricia continued. "This will destroy Julian's reputation. Possibly trigger investigations into his other business dealings. Your families will never reconcile. And Dante, your relationship with your father will be permanently damaged." "It is already damaged," Dante said flatly. "And Julian brought this on himself." Amelia bit her lip. "What about your mother? Will she face consequences?" Patricia shook her head. "The documents do not show her as the source. And even if Julian suspects, he cannot prove it." She was careful. Still, Amelia felt the weight of what this would mean. She was about to publicly humiliate Julian Blackwood, expose his fraud, turn her almost marriage into a cautionary tale about greed and manipulation. "Are you sure about this?" Dante asked gently. "Once we file, there is no going back." Amelia thought about the past months. The engagement party where she had smiled until her face hurt. The nights lying awake, dreading her wedding day. Julian's cold smile as he threatened to destroy her family. The impossible choice he had tried to force on her. Then she thought about the night with Dante. The first time in years she had felt truly alive. The way he looked at her like she mattered, like her choices and her happiness were worth fighting for. "I am sure," she said firmly. "Let us do this." Confrontation Patricia worked through the afternoon preparing the filing. By 5 o'clock Monday evening, just hours before Julian's midnight deadline, they were ready. "We should tell him in person," Amelia said. "Before he hears it from his lawyers?" Dante looked skeptical. "Why give him warning?" "Because your mother gave me this chance," Amelia explained. "The least I can do is face him with it directly. Let him know exactly what is coming and why." Dante studied her face and nodded slowly. "You are braver than you know." They drove to Julian's office in Manhattan, the evening sun casting long shadows across the buildings. Amelia's heart pounded, but her hands were steady. She was done being afraid. Julian's assistant tried to stop them, but Dante walked past her without breaking stride. They entered Julian's corner office to find him on the phone, his back to the door as he gazed out at the city. "I do not care what it takes," he was saying. "The Hartwell girl will sign by midnight or her family is finished. Yes, I am sure. She is too weak to let them suffer." He turned and saw them. His expression barely flickered. "I will call you back."